Good evening. And first at 6, a significant update in the arrest of an asylum seeker outside a Portland courtroom, what appears to be a first in the Rose City. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Christine Padawanich. Lawyers say ICE agents detained the woman, a Mexican national who is transgender, moments after she had appeared for a hearing about her case. Evan Watson is live in downtown Portland. Evan, a judge just made a ruling in this case. So what does it say?
Yeah, Christine, that judge wants ICE to explain why this detention was immediately necessary after that court hearing yesterday, and also ultimately looking for the woman to be transported back from an ICE detention facility in Tacoma, Washington, here to Oregon for a federal hearing. ICE agents are now working inside the federal courthouse in Portland. On Monday, detaining an asylum seeker as she left an immigration courtroom.
And so she complied with all the rules here. She applied for asylum. She attended her court date as required by the government. And then ICE is engaging in this unethical tactic to trick people.
Jordan Cunnings is part of a group of lawyers who filed a federal petition after the asylum seeker's arrest, asking a judge to bring her back and continue her case.
So our client is a transgender woman from Mexico. She fled horrific sexualized violence and discrimination based on her gender identity and sexual orientation.
A Trump administration policy directs and enables ICE agents to make courthouse detentions, a tactic being used nationwide. Immigration lawyers believe Monday's detention is the first in Portland this year. On Tuesday, protesters outside the courthouse criticized the practice as inhumane.
She was detained by ICE, and we got word that they were going to come back and continue accosting people and trying to arrest or detain more people.
Courthouse arrest.
Cunnings says this destroys the integrity of our legal system.
We ask immigrants and refugees who are fleeing violence here to abide by an asylum process and to follow the rules the government asks of them. And detaining them for showing up to court, it's unfair, it's heartbreaking.
The asylum seeker came to the U.S. in 2023. She had been living in Oregon and Vancouver, Washington, while her immigration process played out in the courts. The Department of Homeland Security, in a statement, says ICE is now following the law and placing these illegal aliens in expedited removal, as they always should have been. If they have a valid, credible fear claim, they will continue in immigration proceedings. But if no valid claim is found, aliens will be subject to a swift deportation. Cunnings believes this detained asylum seeker could now be at the Northwest Detention Center in Tacoma, but she's not sure.
I think primarily people are seeking safety when they come here. Oregon is also one of the most welcoming states in the country for transgender people. And so, we had hoped that she would be able to live here and live a safe life.
As of this last update just this afternoon, the lawyers representing her now know that she is in fact at that detention center in Tacoma. Immigration lawyers and advocates that I've talked to are concerned that people seeking asylum may now be scared away from attending their court hearings on the process, which can have very serious consequences if they miss those hearings. They recommend that anyone going through this check with lawyers and the legal advocates who work in immigration court to go through this process and make sure they're doing everything they can. Back to you guys.
Evan Watson downtown with the update. Thanks, Evan. Appreciate your reporting there.
In your headlines, we begin with a tragic end to the search for 3 missing girls in central Washington. The Wenatchee Police Department says the sisters have been found dead, and their father is now wanted for their 3 counts of first-degree murder and kidnapping. Their mother reported them missing after they did not return from a planned visitation with their dad, 32-year-old Travis Decker, on Friday. Yesterday afternoon, a Chelan County deputy found Decker's empty car close to the Rock Island campground near Leavenworth. Then, investigators found the 3 girls dead.
It's hard to imagine why somebody would do that.
What's the gift
if it's his children and stuff. It's a horrible, vengeful act if that's the case. He was taking it out on innocent kids.
Police want anyone who may have seen Decker to call 911.
In Battleground, police say 2 people were found dead and a third critically injured inside a home this morning. This was near Northeast 2nd and 242nd Street. The circumstances are unclear at this point, though officials say there is no ongoing threat to the public. The Clark County Major Crimes Team is also involved.
A construction worker is recovering after a serious accident in Woodland. Crews say the man was inside a 15-foot trench this morning when a piece of equipment fell on him. The worker suffered injuries to his back, pelvis, and leg and had to be life-flighted from the scene near Highway 503 and Insel Road. The Vancouver-based company running the site has a history of safety issues. We reached out to them. They replied, no comment.
Another member of a Portland area burglary ring is now headed to prison. Daniel Blue was sentenced to 18 months behind bars and 5 years of probation. Prosecutors say he admitted to burglarizing 3 local businesses as part of a ring linked to up to 100 break-ins. They say Blue and 2 accomplices broke into 2 pot shops and a pizza place on the night of September 30th and stole cash and merchandise.
Oregon's iconic Crater Lake National Park has lost its top leader. The park's superintendent, Kevin Heatley, resigned from overseeing Oregon's only national park on Friday, citing cuts to staff that he says are unsustainable. We spoke with Heatley this afternoon. He said the decision to leave the post was tough, but the Trump administration cuts are too much to take, he says, for both himself and the small but hardworking staff at Crater Lake.
And I did not want to be empowering the current administration to cause that kind of impact on the people that I'm responsible for. And I also did not want to participate in the dismantlement, effectively a dismantlement of the National Park Service.
Heatley said he does not have immediate plans for his next job, but he hopes it'll be with an organization that advocates for public lands. Matt?
All right, Christine, it is a beautiful afternoon across much of Oregon, and we've got sunshine, clear sky, of course, out in the Dalles. It is windy, though. Low humidity, 80 degrees, really nice combination, but the wind is gusting to 30 miles an hour out of the west. So that means we have strong onshore flow through the gorge, and we have strong onshore flow coming to the valleys. That's going to bring the cloud cover, the low clouds you see at the coast right now, inland tomorrow morning. So in spite of the clear weather we have right now, tomorrow morning will look a lot different. We'll have a cloudy situation. Look at the northwest winds at Hillsborough up to 20 miles an hour, 14 at the airport, northwest winds at McMinnville. So this is a push of cooler air from the coast coming in from the northwest, and it's going to keep doing that overnight, so much so that we will wake up to morning clouds tomorrow. See the northwest and westerly winds throughout western Oregon right now. So tomorrow will be a cloudy one for us, 55 in the morning, not that chilly, but we only make it up to 66 with just a few afternoon sunbreaks. A mainly cloudy day, a little bit of morning drizzle on the way too. But then we go right back to 80s for the end of the week, and this weekend, our first 90-degree weather of the year. More on that later.
Okay, thank you so much, Matt.
Now at 6, a movement is underway to designate Portland as an official swimmable city. We checked the water temperature, though. It's a little chilly, 64, 65 degrees, right?
Still chilly for sure. Supporters, though, say the distinction would actually share the message that the Willamette is safe for swimming here and around the world. Libby Dowsett is live along the Willamette this evening with the details. Libby?
Well, Christine, this river has a long history of polluted water, even had a ban on swimming at one point. But members of a city council committee say now the water is safe, and they think it deserves some recognition internationally. Members of Portland's Arts and Economy Committee passed a resolution this morning to urge council support for Portland becoming the 9th city in the International Swimmable Cities movement. The coalition, started in Australia, includes cities around the world. Supporters say being part of the coalition is a big achievement for Portland, considering the Willamette River's past.
When multiple generations have been taught to fear and shame the Willamette, it's really hard to revisit it. But there's no scientific disagreement that the Willamette is safe for swimming.
Portland only exists because of our location on the river. And for too many years, we've forgotten about that being the heart of our city and the thing that unifies us in a lot of ways.
And they say that Swimmable Cities designation will encourage Portlanders and visitors to come down to parks like this one. And also there's a long list of parks getting better access to the water in the year ahead. Back to you guys.
We are truly lucky to have such beautiful waterways in our area. Thank you so much, Libby. And speaking of the water, President Trump recently released his latest budget, with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers expected to see a pretty big cut.
Joe Ranieri explains how they are planning ahead to keep salmon restoration projects going.
One thing the Trump administration hasn't been shy about over the last few months is making cuts to federal programs. Well, one could be impacting the salmon population right here in the Pacific Northwest. The one thing that's certain about a presidential budget is nothing is certain. And over the last couple of years, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers have been seeing less money for projects along the Columbia River.
The Columbia River fish mitigation allocation is an important source for salmon-related projects in the basin, but funding isn't consistent across all years. Since 2024, they've been seeing a huge drop in funds. So just for the Columbia River Basin, fiscal year 2024, we received $24 million, and for 2025, we received $16 million. And next year, it's expected to be even less, down to $12 million. One of the big projects the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers works on is at Bonneville Dam studying salmon. Money that we're specifically talking about that goes towards construction and different studies for salmon related passage and survivability. Tom Conning with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers says he'll have to be creative with some of the organizations he works with. So we work with National Marine Fisheries, NOAA, BPA. There's a bunch of federal agencies we work with in the region. In order to be able to keep up with a budget that seems to be shrinking every year. We're not necessarily concerned with any particular programs right now because the 2026 is just a proposal right now, so we don't know what that funding is going to actually look like. Along the Columbia River, Joe Ranieri, KGW News.
Tomorrow marks 15 years since Kyron Horman disappeared, and we are taking a look back at the unresolved case that gripped so many of us.
The 7-year-old was last seen at Northwest Portland's Skyline School on June 4th, 2010, and on Wednesday, investigative reporter Kyle Boshi takes a look at what was the largest search and rescue operation in Oregon history. He'll share never-before-seen police body cam video of Kyron's stepmother, Terry Horman, who says she dropped him off at school. That video following a traffic stop in California. And he has extended interviews with Kyron's parents.
When I'm 90, I'm still going to cry over this. This is something that changed our entire lives. You never move on fully from that. You don't get to a point where you get to say, oh, we get to close that door and move on to something else. It's a constant.
What does closure look like for you? Bringing them home. Bringing them home. And I don't know what that means, but bringing them home.
Look for complete coverage tomorrow. That is Wednesday here on KGW News, plus an extended special. Kyron Horman missing 15 years. It'll be available only on our free TV app, KGW Plus, at 8 o'clock tomorrow evening. You can download KGW Plus anytime on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.